Welcome back to Rides and Drives Team Radio. I'm Harvey. I'm here with Kaz, and this weekend it's the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
It sure is, but I wish it were still Gateway.
It
Worldwide Technology
was,
Raceway is a mouthful.
yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Plus, this is also a night race. It starts at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock
hmm
Central local time. And it last year was a very exciting race, I thought.
Yeah, I last year had a lot of action, a lot of emotional stories. This it came through this race. It was a real upswing for a number of different teams after Palou win after Palou win after Palou
Right.
win. This is kind of when we felt that second half of the season start to crack open. Like maybe there's a chance somebody else might be at the top step of the podium from time to time. And it was also a really devastating race for a couple of teams. No one more so than Team Penske.
Yeah,
We
they
saw
had
Joseph Newgarden flip. Yeah.
three cars finished in the bottom four. It was an ugly, ugly part of the season for them.
Yeah. So coming into this year with a whole different set of stories, with Palou not leading the championship by nearly as much as he was at this point last year, with Penske looking strong, I think we're going to see a lot of stories unfold, but they're going to go really differently than they did last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other thing is, this track has some similarities to Phoenix.
Mhm.
So I could see, willpower being strong here like he was at Phoenix. So it's not like
Certainly.
it's just going to be, Penske and Ganassi going at it. There are a lot of cars that ran well at Phoenix, and I could see that again here. I know we talked to Pato O'Ward earlier this week, and he
I was going to
mentioned,
say, speaking of drivers who did well here in the past, and
yeah,
this is
he
kind of where their season opened last year.
yeah, he needs a good result here, and he talked about that.
Mhm.
He also talked about the fact that there's a new aero package for this, that they've tweaked it. So I asked him about that, and this is what he had to say. Pato, talk about the aero package and tires and what you're expecting coming up for this race. You mentioned that they're new.
Um, I do know we have that new aero package. We've got new tires. I mean, honestly, we didn't even test, so I don't even know. I don't know what to expect from this, and I'm kind of going into the weekend just, hoping it's not too different because I do think we've been strong there, and it'd be nice to have some things correlate. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to see of who's going to be the strongest. I can't remember who's the one that went to the test. But yeah, I think it does always produce great racing. And my only hope is that these changes that they've asked for, or like these changes that have been requested for the aero bits on the car. I hope all these changes were to make the racing even better because I do think the race last year was pretty good and entertaining. And if we can make that even better, I mean, people are gonna love it.
I have a couple of thoughts about that. First and foremost, I am really excited about the notion of a new change to the vehicles on this particular track. This is, like you said, parts of this track are similar to Phoenix. Turns three and four are that kind of nice, classic wide oval situation that we see in Phoenix fairly regularly. Turns one and two, though, we're looking at a much narrower turn. It's almost an egg-shaped oval. So you're
Right.
looking at this really, almost continuous. It's half a hairpin, to be honest with you. I mean,
It,
not quite so dramatic, but
right. But it's
it
definitely
lives in
tighter.
that space.
Yeah,
It's definitely tighter and it's different than turns three and four. So dialing your car in properly for this particular race. I know we say this every race, and it is important to have it dialed in right, regardless of where you are. But when you're running the same short lap, mile and a quarter, over and over and over, and you can lose so much time by not having it dialed properly for half the corners. This is really important to make sure you get it 100% right. And when you're working with a new aero package on top of that, that adds a lot of complication and excitement for fans.
yeah, maybe a little more chaos, which people seem to like because look at the ratings for the Detroit race.
Look short. Oh, yeah, you're
They
not
were
kidding,
up
man.
again. So excellent. Let's hope, that continues. And these short ovals are a lot of fun. Um, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who gets the setup right. I see this being as competitive a race as last year with tons of passing. And there are a bunch of people who need a good result here.
Yeah.
I think, we can look at Will Power. I think we
Hmm.
can look at Christian Rasmussen,
Hmm.
who finished well here last year, but has had a really tough season so far.
I think part of the way Christian Rasmussen drives is so exciting and dynamic to watch. But ultimately, with him, you do wind up in a situation where being able to drive that way for a full race and come out on top is on some level a luck situation more than it is for other drivers who maybe take less risks.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's great. I love watching it, but I'm not surprised that he's had a string of bad races all in a row. And it doesn't necessarily, sometimes when another driver who I feel strongly about might not put results together, it's crazy that I'm saying Pato here, but I'm looking at Pato, right? It
Right.
starts to make me think like, what's going on, man? Why can't you crack the podium? You should be able to. You should have been able to by now. With Christian, it's more just, all right, we just got to wait for the next short oval and see if this is his day. And
Right.
this one very well could be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with Will, I agree. He's had a couple of potential moments to fight for the win snatched away from him this
Yeah.
season.
Phoenix
Phoenix was
being
one of
notable.
them.
Yeah.
So I think that we could look for a really strong performance from him here for sure.
I would think so. I think, the Andretti boys have the bit between the teeth now. Kyle won this race last year. And winning again this year would certainly tighten up the championship race. Like you said, it is tighter. One of the things Pato talked about was even though he's in fifth place in the championship, he's closer in points this year than he was to Alex last year at this time. So
Hmm.
there's still a lot up in the air. People are, anointing Alex again in every press conference and in the media, and it's too early.
I'm going to make a devil's advocate argument. I agree. I don't want really to start talking about the championship in a super serious way quite yet. I don't like doing that until we're two-thirds of the way through the season. But two, three, four, and five are all quite close in points and all capable of being championship rivals. My concern is if Alex wins a third of the remaining races and the other drivers win two-thirds, but split between
Split.
four, ultimately Alex still comes on top in that situation every time. So we need a clear rival to emerge before we can start talking about Alex losing this championship with the kind of lead he has right now. So we'll see. This could very well be the week to do it. In addition to looking out for Pato, looking out for the Andretti guys and Christian Rasmussen, I think I really want to talk about Penske here.
Yeah.
Um, Joseph Newgarden ended this race last year in absolute tragedy and a little bit of fear. That flip was pretty gnarly, almost went over the pit wall. Very, very glad he walked away from that one
Yeah.
totally fine.
Thank God for the arrow screen. We
But
can.
right now, he's not totally fine.
No, I mean, and he was less fine last week going into Detroit, and we wrote him off, and guess what he did?
Guess what? He cracked the top 10. So
He
I,
proved
I'm
us
not
wrong.
I'm not writing Joseph off at all. I,
Right.
I I very well think if he's willing to get in the car at a track he loves, at a track he is, I mean, a few years back, Joseph
Yeah.
wins here every year. This is kind of his playground, right?
Right.
I very well think that he could be a huge factor in this race. I do have to consider it a little bit less likely, but you know what that does is it opens the door a little bit for his teammates who look the at Phoenix. The
Yeah.
Penske looked the strongest. Their short oval package looks great. If they are able to continue that with the car, I think that both Malukas and McLaughlin have looked so hungry for that win over the last few races, and
Right.
I don't know. I think this could be a real Penske dominance situation. Now, if it's Malukas, that helps with our championship thing. If it's
Right.
either McLaughlin or Newgarden, it makes it even more convoluted because
W-
a win would boost either of the two of them kind of up into this same conversation.
Yeah. So I just think we're going to see a cracker of a race here. There are
Yeah.
so many cars that are capable of winning this race. The track is, one of those where we're going to see tons of passes. I know people give short ovals a bad rap, right? There are a lot of F1 fans, and sports car fans who look at short ovals and say, "Oh, it's just, you're going around in a circle." And yes, you are going around in circles, but there is so much action on every lap. And the thing I like about IndyCar is the variety of racing we get to see. It's not
Hmm.
just road courses, it's not just super speedways. It's not just street courses, it's everything. And that variety, it allows different driving styles to
To
let
shine.
themselves shine. Right. And I think it's fun. I just think it's a nice break from, the stop and go chaos that was Detroit last week.
Yeah, look, short ovals are my very favorite race type. I get so excited when we're approaching a short oval, and this is no exception. In addition to the variety of track types, we talked about how this differs so much from Phoenix, and when we get to Milwaukee, we're going to talk about how Milwaukee differs so much. It's a really broad but narrow category at the same time, and
Right.
the races produced on these tracks are always, top tier, some of the best of the season. So I'm just giddy going into short oval week.
Well, and the other thing I like about short ovals is they really are a tie to the legacy of this series. The USAC part of the series. These guys raced short ovals all the time back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and it was sort of the mainstay of the calendar. And the road courses and super speedways were more novelty.
Hmm.
So it's part of the
It's a
tradition
part
of,
of the history.
yeah, and it's just great to see them continue to race in places like this in, different parts of the country. I like it being in the St. Louis area. That's a great place for racing history. It's a really good market for IndyCar. So I I just hope people tune in on Sunday night. That's the weird thing for me a little bit is the timing of this race.
The only drawback, I do love a night race, particularly an oval night race. It's hard to do others. You can, but you have to really properly light a road course, which is challenging. Um, but I love a night race. I do wish it were Saturday. I wish they had adjusted the dates so that we were qualifying Friday night, racing Saturday night, and then Sunday off. But
Right.
I, you know, my I don't work a standard 9 to 5 anyway, so I have Monday morning off. It doesn't matter.
There was some chatter online about, hey, IndyCar, you got to think about the working man here. And,
Yeah,
we're going to be up till 11 o'clock Eastern time watching this race, or we're not going to watch the race because we have to
yeah.
get to bed for our 5 a.m. shift or whatever. So,
For those of us on the East Coast, a 9 p.m. Sunday start is a little like, really, guys? I'm
yeah.
fine, but I know my husband, who does do a standard 9 to 5, is going to be a little tired the next morning, a little fussy.
Yeah, and yeah, the night race, like you said, it's fun,
Yeah.
and it looks great. I mean, the pyros they had on the parade lap last year was pretty cool.
Hmm.
So we'll see what they do this year, but it's just it's tough. And I imagine it's tough on the drivers too, and how they adjust their schedule on Sunday.
Sure.
to sit around all day and wait and wait and wait. The other thing is, they're qualifying earlier than the race start too.
They are.
So, practice and qualifying aren't happening under race conditions.
Yeah.
So, as it gets cooler into the evening, then it really falls on the strategists and the engineers to dial that car in.
And I'm in Indiana. I'm not in St. Louis, but I'm kind of at a similar latitude. And I will tell you that the temperature drops dramatically when the
Yeah.
sun goes down. I felt what had to be a 10-degree drop between getting into my car after work and getting out of my car when I got home. So this is a really significant thing for them to be watching. You're so right about that.
Yeah. So
And you're right. Qualifying is at 4:30, which is the hottest part of the day right now.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how teams adapt to that. And that'll be part of what we have to look for. Who's got the data, who's making the right moves with, adding wing at the right time or changing a tire pressure here or there. It's going
All
to be
with a
really
new,
interesting.
all with a new aero package.
Right.
Ooh,
So there's going to be
spicy.
a lot to watch for here in this race. I am excited to see where it goes. I just, in terms of other storylines for it, there are just so many. We could sit here and talk for another half hour about it, but I
Yeah, I
think
could
we
run
just need,
through the full grid.
yeah, Santino, he needs a bounce back race,
Yes, he
right?
does.
There's so many people who are capable on this track, and it's going to provide us with a lot of great action and hopefully safe action this year, and no horrible crashes like happened with New Garden last year.
Yeah, a little bump and grind is fine, guys, but no scary flips, please.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate because there was no avoiding that.
No,
When
yeah,
Foster spun in front of him, I believe, and he just had to try to avoid him, and ended up in the wall between the track and pit lane, and it would have been catastrophic had he gone over that
had he
wall.
flipped the barrier, yeah, which was
Yeah.
genuinely quite close. If you have not watched a replay of this incident, you should. It was one of the scarier ones I've seen recently. Um, yeah, and
Yeah.
you're right. It was 100% unavoidable. And again, it was a situation where Joseph was making really significant moves and looked like he might be challenging for the win. And then, nope, not going
Yeah.
to happen. So
Yeah.
um, he's been having different luck this year. Let's hope for him that can continue. And I haven't seen any video of him, so analyzing his injury from my couch hasn't been something I've been able to do. Um, but look,
Yeah.
you got to imagine if he was able to do what he was last weekend in a situation where he's happier to be,
This
anything
is,
can happen.
I mean, it's a tough race because those corners are relentless. But
Mhm.
this track is not going to be as rough as Detroit. Obviously,
Yeah,
the surface is much smoother. So I think, he and Rossi are going to be much more comfortable in this race than they were last week, which should lead to better opportunities for both of them.
yeah, great to hear it. Love it.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up here. We'll be back after qualifying on Saturday, and then we can go ahead and figure out how we're going to do a podcast on Sunday when the race doesn't end till 11 Eastern time. We may have to get up really early on Monday and,
Yeah,
and
I
do
I
something.
figure you guys can expect that recording to post Monday morning, not Sunday night, but I can't imagine anybody staying up hours after the race for a podcast
Our
anyway.
insight,
So
yeah, our insight is hopefully, something you look forward to, but I doubt you're staying up past midnight for it. So,
it's still there in the morning, guys. Don't worry about it.
all right. Well, that's it for this pre-race. Until then, we're Rides and Drives Team Radio. Look for us on social media. She is at Fast Car Kaz. I am Harvey_Drives, and we are out for today.
Drive safe, everybody.